Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a Hatha Yoga class. It's my first yoga class that I'm posting on here, so this is a new experience for me. I'm a new teacher, so I've decided to keep my notebook here because I've been writing many sequences. This class will be about an hour long, and I hope you enjoy it. So with that, let's get started. Please find a comfortable seated position like Sukhasana and start to drop in. First, just bring your awareness to your breath. And start to feel grounded. Start to pour your energy into the earth and feel the support of the earth back up against you. Take a big breath in through your nose and exhale. Let it go. Let's do two more just like that. So take a big inhale and exhale. Audible exhale. And on this last one, go ahead, do it at your own pace. And see if you could really just let go of anything that's holding on that isn't serving you today. And once you finish, simply observe your breath. You don't need to force it in any direction. And just be here with your breath. This yoga practice should be a moving meditation. So try your best to focus on what's happening inside your body and less about what's happening outside of the yoga mat. I would say classroom, but today the park is our classroom, my classroom. You could be doing it anywhere. So when you find your thoughts are changing into work or relationships, simply bring it back to the yoga pose, the breath within the pose, and see if you can just expand and deepen your practice. Okay, so with that, let's sweep our arms up to the sky, reach up, way up, feel your sit bones grounded into the earth, and lift up. Feel the sky pulling you upward, so there's a tug of war between the earth and the sky. And drop your right hand, this one's my right hand, drop it down to the mat, and now find length through the left side body. So find length, and only after you find length, start to tip to the side. So it's not about trying to touch the mat, it's about finding length in the side body. And keeping your torso in a line. Try not to curve your body down. You don't want to be curving your body upward like that, really. Just try to find a neutral side bend. Think about reaching towards the corner instead of reaching over or down. It's still an upward motion. Okay, go ahead, let that go. And now this time, draw up the right hand. Find length. Feel the stretch through opening through your lats and through your lumbar spine, and start to tip to the side. Find the nice stretch The more I anchor my hips down, the more I feel it in my low back. And that's a really nice feeling if you have tightness. So check in with your shoulders. Make sure they're up, back, and down. You don't want to have your shoulder up to your ear. And now bring that hand back down. We'll do a second set. This time, try to move with your breath, finding length and then tipping over. Feel how good it feels to breathe today. And just ask yourself, where do I feel my breath? And now let that go. We'll do the second side one more time. Finding length. I like to tip my pinky finger towards the earth. Instead of pointing up like this, I point it down. It helps with the rotation of the arm. Okay, and let that go. Now one more time, reach your hands up. You can hold on to your hands at the top, flip your palms and get a nice stretch, like you're trying to stretch out your vertebrae. And now this time we're gonna let the arms go and we're gonna bring the left hand to the right knee for a seated twist. This is a really good warm-up. It's not an intense twist, it's just kind of waking up your spine. So when you get here, go ahead and look over your right shoulder. Take your gaze to the back. On your inhale, find length, and on your exhale, twist a little deeper. But make sure you don't feel any pain. If you feel pain, back off. Now inhale your arms back up to the sky, untwist, and without stopping, go into the second side. Press your right hand into your left knee and use that press to find some lift and some twist. You want your left hand at the base of your spine. You could play with how close or far away it is to the base of your spine. How close it is, you might walk your fingers out. That will take away the intensity, or you can walk them in, and that'll help you twist a little bit more. And relax, sweep your arms up one more time. We'll do a second set. Go ahead, twist to the right. And find what feels nice about this moment. And inhale, exhale, twist. So remember, inhale, find length. Exhale, twist. And release that. Okay, now we're gonna go into our not our down dog. Now we're gonna go into our cat-cow position. So take your hands, put them to the side, and let's meet in tabletop. So what we're looking for is we want our shoulders stacked over our wrists, and we want our knees and hips also in a line. This is going to give us a nice tabletop position. So if you've been here before, feel free to do what you know and do the cat-cow. So here I'm going to drop my belly, and I'm going to start to open up through the chest, pulling my chest through my shoulders. And I'm gonna look up. My focus point is the space between my eyes. So I'm gonna look up like that. And now on your exhale, I like to initiate my movement from my tailbone. So I start to tuck and curl into my cat, like I'm a scaredy cat. And you could give this a little wiggle, a little rock if that feels nice to you. So go ahead, inhale, let's do another round. And exhale, curl everything in. Do 2 more at your own pace. When I press up like this, I also like to press through my ankles. I also find that's helpful in rounding my spine. Now relax, bring everything to an arch, an opening, and exhale, curl it in. Okay, one more time, inhale. Find that back extension. You can wiggle your hips, find what feels good. And exhale. Okay, from here I'm going to tuck my toes. And I'm going to press my hands into all 4 corners of my hand. So, yeah, I'm gonna press so much that through my hands and also through my toes, that my knees start to lift and I can start to peel my tailbone up and back and find a downward facing dog. Here you could pedal your feet out, go onto your tippy toes, drop one heel and switch. You could also wiggle your hips side to side, finding whatever is nice for you today. You could play with rocking both feet or bending your knees. Whatever your body is needing today. Downward dog is a very versatile position, a resting position. Take a big inhale and exhale. Now, let's meet at the top of the mat. So slowly start to make your way to the top in whatever way you want. I'm going to give my knees a nice generous bend, and I'm going to let my arms go, let my head go, and just let my spine decompress. I'm going to remember to breathe. Letting go of whatever isn't serving me. And now on my inhale, I'm going to sweep my arms up with a flat back. My hands meet at the top, and I'm in a prayer position with my hands. Okay. So now we're going to create some space in our spine. We're going to really take care of our spine today. So what that's going to look like, kind of like the position we were just in, but I want to keep in mind that we have 33 vertebrae, some of which are fused in our lumbar. And this next part, we want to create space between each of the vertebrae. Okay, so first, I'm going to make sure I have a nice bend in my knees, nice and squishy, and I'm not going to focus on a hamstring stretch. I'm focusing on creating space in my spine. So I'm going to tuck my chin and find length through the back of my neck. I could already feel that stretch. And now I'm going to continue to curl in. And when I find a sticky spot, I'm going to pause and breathe. Send my breath to that spot that feels a little sticky. Another thing you can do that's really helpful is, let's say you're stuck here or you feel kind of a stickiness there. I'm going to come out a little bit and then go back in and just kind of wiggle, rocking back and forth until I feel ready to move on. So do take your time getting here. And while I'm doing this, I'm also letting my arms be very heavy. And my head should also be heavy. We're going to let gravity use the weight of our hands and our head to create that space, and that should feel really good. And don't forget to breathe as always. I have a puppy friend. Hi. That's okay. Okay. And as I said before, it's not meant to be a hamstring stretch. So you can see I'm giving myself a nice generous bend in my knees. And I'm going to hang out here. And once you feel like this is good, you can start to then straighten your legs. Okay. And now let's do the opposite. So now bend your knees and start to unravel from the base of your spine, still letting your arms and your heads. I think most of us have one, but well, at least 50% of us have one. Okay. Okay, and that feels really nice. Okay, so let's sweep our hands up to the sky and swan dive forward. Find the floor, catch the floor. Give yourself that bend if you need, as much knee bend as you need. Put your hands on either the tops of your thighs or your shins. I'll show you the tops of the thighs for now. We're gonna straighten the legs and straighten the back. What happens is sometimes people want to straighten from your ankles or from the floor, but they don't realize that takes like a hunch into their back. So we don't want any kind of hunching. So that's why you might hear a recommendation to push your thighs away and straighten. Use the push to straighten your spine. You're finding length. Okay? I actually like to do it just below the knees. And exhale. Forward fold completely, nose to knees. And one more time. We'll speed it up a little bit. And exhale. Sorry I lied another time because it just feels really good. Might give a little rock. That feels nice to me. And exhale. Okay. So now we're going to place our hands. If you need to bend your knees, go ahead, bend your knees. I'm going to put this under here like so. And I'm going to step my right leg back, framing my left foot. I want to pay attention to my hips. I want my hips to be in a line. If you don't have the balance, put your feet onto, make some space between your feet so that you're not on a tightrope, you're on train tracks. Okay, so from here, engage your core. Let go of the floor and start to find some lift up. Woo. Take a big breath in. Ooh, keep that knee bent. And exhale. So your heel should be lifted. And your front knee should be over your ankle. And you want both hips facing this way. So if you find yourself opening, trying to get both of them facing this way. You could bend your knees. Sometimes that makes it easier. Your back knee, and then go ahead and straighten it. Okay. Oops. So inhale, your arms up. Exhale, frame your left foot. And now step it back to downward facing dog. Take a nice big inhale and exhale. Wow, it looks kind of fun from upside down. Okay, now I'm gonna step my right leg up to my right hand. I'm gonna frame my foot, make sure I have the balance. I'm gonna start to energetically press through my back heel to make sure that this leg is stable. And I'm gonna start to engage my core, start to lift my hands, find lift up, and let my hands rise. And I'm just gonna breathe because it feels pretty nice. I'm gonna find either a stretch that feels really good, an opening feeling, and I'm gonna focus on that. Or I'm gonna find some pleasure in how strong part of my body is. So it's always a play between that, finding what feels good. Does the strength feel good? Does the flexibility feel good? And I'm gonna keep my breathing. I might look up and exhale back to downward facing dog. Drop your head. Try to press the heels down to the mat and check in with your shoulders. Are they up towards your ears like mine, or can you let them go down your back? Okay. Now step to the front of your mat. Find some length in your spine, either from pressing against your shins or your thighs. And exhale, forward fold. Shake your head. And now inhale all the way up. Whew. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I could start to feel my body opening, which I needed because my back was hurting. Hopefully you guys are also finding similar sensations. Okay, now pressing firmly into the mat or the earth. I'm gonna press down and feel the rebound of my body lifting up. So the more I press, the more I could feel the energy shooting up. Okay, now sweep your arms up and over in swan dive. And when I swan dive, I do like to take my feet a little bit pigeon-toed like this. This is to internally rotate my legs, which is really good because everything is always external, and we end up here, which squishes your lower back together. So if you kind of do, not so dramatically, I'm being excessive here, but this is going to help open up your lower back. So sometimes when I'm going into my swan dive, into my forward fold, I just ever so slightly go pigeon-toed to help find the lower back stretch and to open it while also stretching it. So test that out, see what you think about it. Drop your head, hang heavy. You could do the ragdoll arms. Now inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, forward fold. This time, let's step our right leg back, and we're gonna drop our heel to a 45-degree angle. Find the bend in the left leg. And again, I'm going to engage my core and find some lift up. Reach your arms up. This is our warrior one pose. So even though my foot is starting to point to the side a little bit, my hips are still meant to be squared to the front. So check in with your hips. It is a challenge to square them. So if it helps, sometimes you can also put one hand on your hip, just so you know, hip is facing this way, and one hand up in this way, just to encourage your body and your being to direct this way. If you feel like that's comfortable, easy peasy, go ahead and lift both hands up. And I'm gonna press through the pinky toe side of my heel so that I could kind of feel a little bit of a stretch in my inner thigh when I do that. Yours might be different, let me know. Yeah, on my inhales I find the length, exhales try to sink a little lower. I might even walk my toe slightly forward when I do that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start to hinge forward, put my hands, flip my foot, step back into my down dog, give it a little pedal, a little shake, and now step my right foot up and drop my back heel so my foot is at a 45-degree angle. Again, you could put your feet on railroad tracks and not a tightrope if balance is an issue, but engage your core, lift up. You could always challenge if you feel this is really easy. Challenge your balance by walking your foot inwards to be on that tightrope. But it's not necessary to get benefits from this if you're not there today. I could feel a stretch in my back, hip flexor, and that feels really nice. But if you look, my hips are not very square. I could try to square them, but you know, it's a process. You might also notice one hip popping up or down. That's completely normal. It takes a lot of training to get them to be square. Oh, yeah, this feels nice. Sometimes I also like to just stretch a little bit away from this hip to get deeper into that hip flexor. You're free to take variations if that's what your body needs. And don't forget your breathing, okay? Now, this time I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm just gonna step my left foot up to meet my right. It's a little balancing stability practice. It's really good. Sweep your arms up, swan dive to a forward fold. And now, let's step the right leg back, this time at our 90-degree angle. And we're gonna bend our front leg into a 90-degree angle. The heel of your front foot should line up with the arch of your back foot. Now I have a handy dandy mat with lines, so that's nice. Yeah, you should have that alignment. It's pretty nice. Okay. And you could windmill your arms up, use your right arm to bring you up, and then try to find a flat line like this. Inhale, find strength. Exhale, see if you could sink a little lower. Look over your left middle finger. That is your drishti point, your gazing point. And just breathe. You want your body to be flat in a line, like this way. You want to imagine you're being squeezed between two pieces of glass. And now we're gonna straighten our front leg, turn this one to a 90-degree angle, and the right foot will become our new forward. And when I'm gonna bend it, find the straight arms, look across, find your drishti, your focal point, and breathe. See if your shoulders are creeping up towards your ears. If they are, no worries, just roll them back, up, back, and down. And if it's really, your shoulders feel very tight, one way to encourage them is to flip your palms. See if that's a nicer thing on your shoulders. Little fun trick. Okay, and now we can straighten your right leg, turn your foot back in, turn your left foot back out, and this time, instead of a warrior, we're gonna bump the hips to the side, and we're gonna start to pull your left arm over as much as you can, and then like a teeter-totter, you're gonna reach one arm down and one arm up. Like one is really trying to get to the ground, but instead of really trying to get to the ground, what I want to focus on more is that my torso is in alignment more than touching my toes. So if you can get to the ground, that's great, but what happened to your hips? Did your butt stick out? Or what happened? Did you lose some, I don't know, did you start to hunch your back? That's really common to happen. For me, I do stick my butt out if I try to really go to the ground. And it's not about going to the ground, it's more about stretching the side. So focus on that. And as much as you are reaching down, also reach up. Play with that tug of war between the earth and the sky one more time. And when you're ready, let it go, come up, and let's switch sides. So right toes out, well, right toes forward, left toes pointing towards me. If that's your orientation, I don't know which way you're facing actually. We could be perpendicular. Okay, and we're gonna stretch, 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 and drop. And I'm going to make sure my leg is straight, but not hyperextended. A block is a great tool for here. And even if this feels like you could go deeper, I think it's better to create length this way instead of going all the way down, because that's actually where you're going to get more benefits. And it's about twisting your thoracic, finding length in your QL, your lumbar, and your lats. So that's good. If balance is shaky, look down at your foot. If you're confident and feeling grounded, look up at your hand. And just feel that tug of war. See if you could suspend yourself. See if you could engage your core enough to keep you lifted without worrying about this bottom hand. And when you're finished with that, rise back up. And now we're gonna go back to the left side. So left toes out. We're gonna come back into our warrior two kind of position. And now rest your forearm on your thigh. Yeah, and from pressing into your thigh, use the rebound to start to lift up and twist your torso. Because again, we want a straight line from our fingers up here to our toes down here. So I'm fortunate that I could see myself on the camera. So I kind of have like a mirror situation happening. But see if you can do that. If it's not possible, work towards it. And if you want to go deeper, you can, or challenge yourself more, start to straighten this bottom arm and use your core to lift you up. Or slide yourself down to the ground, palm flat, and try to still get this angle, or put it on the outside of your leg. Yeah, if that's okay on your body. But when you do that, try not to curve your spine down. You still want to have the twist in the thoracic up. Yeah, I like to find alignment. Well, actually, here, let's come back up and switch sides. Sometimes yoga teachers get to talking too much, and then you end up holding one side more than the other. So your right hand is going to go on your right thigh. Okay, and for the arm alignment, I like to put it along my leg, because that's already like the line I'm working with, and then just swing it like a hinge until it's over me. Yeah, that helps me find a straight line. And I'm not gonna hang out here. I'm not dumping. Make sure you're not dumping your weight into your hip or into your shoulder, because over time that's not gonna be cute or fun. You want to press yourself away from your thigh. Use your muscles, use your core. It's okay if you have to press a little bit, but still press to work the muscles. Okay, and don't forget to breathe. And try to do the same as you did on the previous side. So if you went down, try to go down. You could do a half bind, or work towards that for next time. Okay, coming back up, we're gonna now step our right foot to our left. And just chill out for a second. Yeah, just find your breath up at the top of your mat. Okay, now let's sweep our hands up and exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Let your head be heavy. Press, find the half lift. And exhale. This time, step into a downward facing dog. Take big inhales and exhales. Okay, and now lower your knees to the ground, and you can walk them back a little bit and lay down on your belly. You could let your hips go side to side. Let them wake up, feel something. And now we're gonna do what's called locust pose. So maybe you did this in school. You might have learned it as Superman. But yeah, it's good. It's a back strengthening position. Okay, so I'm going to start with my head on the mat, my feet on the mat, and my hands in a cactus. Let's do a cactus. Okay, so first I'm going to press my hips into my mat, so much so that my feet come off the ground. Well, I use my hamstrings also. That's okay. And I'm going to use the strength of my lower back, excuse me, to lift up also. And I have my floating cactus hands. It doesn't have to be high. This is okay. You could choose. You could go out in the front, or you could clasp your hands behind and put them out like so. Okay, we'll hang out here for a second and then relax. Okay, let's do a second set. This time choose before what you want to do with your hands. I'll clasp mine. So I'm going to lift up with all of my limbs. And exhale, relax. Now, this next pose is not my favorite for my body, but I'm going to do it because that's part of the yoga journey, is you do things that you don't want to do. It's a bow pose, but I'm a weirdo and I have knee pain when I do it. So I'll be gentle with it in my demonstrations, but feel free to go further if it feels safe in your body. Okay, so what's gonna happen? I'm gonna grab my foot from the inside. Ooh, I already feel that quad stretch. Actually, from the outside. The outside is easier. The inside is better for progression. So I'm gonna keep it simple for me today. Okay, I'm gonna do that with both of my feet. Ooh, that's already pretty intense for me. And then from here, it's good to try to keep your knees from splaying out. You don't want them to go to the side. You want to try to keep them in line with your hips as much as you can. And here I'm going to start to kick both feet so that my chest raises. And if that's easy for you, kick a little more and start to try to lift your legs up. I'll show you on this side. Try to, lift your knees up, while also simultaneously lifting your shoulders and your chest up. That's not really appropriate for me today, so I'm gonna actually just take the stretch. I'm gonna do one stretch, actually, one leg at a time, because I can feel that pulling on my knee, and that is painful. So if I do it a little more gently, then I won't. Over time, it'll heal and get better. Yeah, so this is the knee that really bothers me. We all have problems like that, though, so no shame there. That's just where I'm at today. Okay, so once we're done with that, we are going to flip onto our back, and we're gonna get ready for our peak pose. This one's gonna be really good in getting close to the peak pose. Okay. So, we're gonna do a bridge. Okay, so this is another weird one for me. It's the same kind of muscles that we use in the bow pose. This also hurts my knee. So usually teachers say you should touch your heels with your fingertips, and that's a good distance. For me, that's not true. I need to walk my feet out and sometimes even straighten my leg. But when I do this, I'm gonna first tilt my pelvis instead of being in my neutral stance. This is like neutral. This is me tucking. And then from there, I'm gonna start to tuck so much that I press through my feet and can lift. I like to check in with my ribs, make sure my ribs aren't doing the work, because they like to, so I want to keep them down. And that's still a little painful for me. So what I'm going to do instead is do more of a fluid motion. So I'm just going to play with coming up into a bridge and coming out into it. And I'm not going to hold it in a stagnant position like that. Ooh, that sun is really beating on me. And I'm going to keep breathing the whole time. Okay. I do believe that comes from my quad tightness. Okay. And once we're finished with that, we're going to sit on up. And I'll show you from this way. I'm going to put my knees together. Well, yeah, my knees together, and I'm going to sit between my knees. And if this is okay for your knees and your hips, then do it. If not, try to lift your body up using a block or something else to sit on, a bolster, a blanket, whatever you got. Okay, now I'll go to the side so you can see it from the side. I'm just sitting between my heels, and you should feel some opening up. If this is super easy for you, then start to recline. So start to put your elbows back behind you and start to drop your head. If that's still easy, then you could go further and totally lay down. Again, for me, right now, today, I think this is good. So I'm gonna hang out here. I could feel a lot of pressure around my hips. It feels really good on my right hip. So I'm enjoying the stretch. I feel it's working, it's doing something. So this is what's beneficial for me. You know, often in yoga, we see a lot on social media about just doing crazy poses, but it's actually just maintaining your body and maintaining your health. There's no need to go to the mat, drop back all the way down to the mat. It's nice if that's where your body's at. If it's serving you, that's good, but at some point it doesn't serve you if you're not ready for it. And so it's more about honoring where you're at and just listening, learning to pay attention to your body and your body's needs. So in any part of your practice, what your abilities are or what they aren't, try not to judge yourself. Just look at it as you're giving yourself love, and just understand that it changes, and it could go, one day you might be able to go to the mat, and one day, the next day you might not be able to. And it's not necessary. Sometimes it's just not necessary. Like this today, sometimes I do go back further, but today this feels like a pretty intense stretch. So, and I could feel like a stretch around my knees. It's not knee pain, it does feel like a stretch. And I feel stretches in my hips. So I think for me today, this feels like enough. I don't need to go further. I'm not sure that it will continue to give me anything. It might injure me instead, and that's not the point at all. So just honor where you're at today. And even something like we've been holding this for a little bit, maybe after a minute, 2 minutes, your body might be ready, and then you could go further. It's just a constantly changing thing. So we just have to learn how to read ourselves and know what is most beneficial in the moment. Okay, now that we've done all that, let's do some wheel pose. We stretched out the front of our legs and the back of our legs. We did some bridges or lack thereof. And so it's really weird, but bridge is usually the kind of like beginner wheel. But for me, wheel actually feels easier than bridge because the other elements are there for me. But you'll notice my hips do fall back a little bit. That's okay, it's a constant battle. Okay, so wherever you're at, put your feet on the mat, lay down, put your hands next to your shoulders, fingertips facing your shoulders. Make sure your hair isn't going to be in the way or any whatever. Okay, and Inhale. And on your exhale, go ahead and push. Okay, and you can rock back and forth if you're able to. You could play with trying to straighten your legs, trying to not, or just hang out here. It's up to you. Lately, I've been feeling an ab stretch in this pose, which is interesting. Okay, and when you're ready, come back down and hug your knees to your chest. And you did it. Actually, we're gonna do one more set, so don't get too comfortable. Inhale and exhale. Okay, and drop your feet. Put your hands on the mat. Sometimes people like to say first go to your head. If that's easier for you, you can do that. For me, I just find it easier to push all the way up into a bridge. So I also find it easier to have my feet out a little bit and then to walk them back. And here, I'm trying to push my hips up and my chest up as well. It's a hard opening. It's a big pose. Don't forget to breathe. And come down when you're ready. Okay. Now you could relax a little bit more. We won't go into it again in this video practice. Although if you're at home, you could do whatever you like. I won't know. So, no worries. If that was not accessible, I should have mentioned just continue to do bridge. But that moment is gone. Whoops. Next time. Although if you're not able to do it, I'm sure you didn't do it. I'm certain of it. Okay. Now we did knees to chest. And now drop one leg down to the mat and give your right leg a hug. You could play putting it in and out. I feel a stretch in my left quad and my left hamstring. And now I'm gonna put my foot right about my knee level and I'm gonna pull, while keeping my right shoulder to the mat, I'm gonna pull my right knee to the opposite side and I'm gonna look over my right shoulder. And you can see I have a gap here and there's no problem with that, because I can still feel the stretch. It feels really nice. I'm gonna relax my legs to encourage gravity to push it down. I can start to feel the stretch in my butt, my right buttock. And on my inhales, I could feel my breath. And on my exhales, I let gravity sink me a little bit deeper. I could also put my hand on my knee to encourage a little push. But I feel some hip impingement here when I do that, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna let it hang. And I even wanna feel that opening in my low back. Okay, come back up and switch sides. So drop your right leg is straight and your left knee comes to your chest. Give it a nice hug, a squeeze. Rock it back and forth. Give love to that hip. I like to pull it a little bit and then press down through my opposite leg, because then I feel a nice hip opening on my right leg, or hip flexor opening. I like that. So I'm gonna put my knee kind of just above my my foot just above my knee. And I'm gonna keep my left shoulder down now on the mat and move it to the right. This one I feel more hip impingement on, so I'm gonna straighten my leg. Because right here, I feel a pinching feeling in my hip. If that happens, you could just straighten your leg and that'll usually take it out. But notice I'm not trying to pull my leg up. I'm just gonna let it hang at an angle. And that's still pretty nice. I could also just bring it to the ground that way too. And I feel my stretch all through here, and it's great. I'm gonna let gravity relax. I don't feel any kind of pinching. The sun is nice. It's a beautiful day out after all this rain that we've been having. Okay, and now I'm gonna come back and give myself a hug. And now is the final resting pose, Shavasana. I guess I'll set a timer for it. This is my first video, so I'm still troubleshooting things. But let's see, because if I just lay down, I might forget about everything. The sun is quite bright. Okay, so I'll set a timer. If you got things to do, places to be, go ahead and go. But otherwise, I'll stay here for another 5 minutes in Shavasana. So, palms up to the ceiling. Let your hands go as wide as they need. I like to kind of tuck my shoulder blades in a little bit. Okay, when you're ready, yogis, start to wiggle your fingers, your fingers and your toes. Bring some movement, shake your head side to side. Bring your feet, your knees up to your chest. Give yourself a nice big hug. Rock back and forth. Shift your knees to the right, drop them down, and use your hands to push you back up and bring you back into a seated position. Okay, so I got a little distracted during Shavasana because there were some kids playing. But I think I did an all right job because I heard them say, there's a dead person. And, well, it is called corpse pose, so I think I nailed it. Anyway, thank you for joining me in my first yoga video on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed it, and please check out my other videos. I'll be doing other styles. I'll be doing a vinyasa flow, an ashtanga practice, and a yin practice. So I'll alternate between those four: hatha, ashtanga, vinyasa, and yin. So we'll see what my posting schedule looks like. I'm going to try to do 3 of them a week, but that might be a little ambitious. We'll see. Thank you for letting me practice this out on you. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, you could always join me in person at the yoga studio, wherever I'm teaching. So if you're not sure, or you're seeing this at a different time, you could always follow my Instagram. It's Milam Peace. That'll have my yoga schedule posted. And I also have a website, Milam Peace, and I also do TikTok videos. So if you want to follow me on there, I also give tips about the chakras, because it's mainly a chakra system, and some other holistic healing modalities. So I also do sound healing, and I dabble with Ayurvedic medicine. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, please support me, like the things, follow me, share it. And if you just want to come here for yoga, then that's okay. And if you just wanted to check this out, that's okay too. So that's kind of what I have going on. Yeah, thank you so much once again for joining me today. And I'll see you on the next round. Bye.